what you're doing, how you doing, what you're doing, and who you are. Flex yourself, impress yourself. Check yourself, don't wreck yourself. If you know me, then you know that I be knowing what's up. Hey, Stephanie Graham is nosy as
WLPN LP Chicago 105.5 FM Lumpin' Radio. Hey Chicago, happy Saturday. It's Memorial Day weekend. Oh my gosh, what a dream. Do you have to work on Monday? God, I hope you don't. I hope you get a chance to rest and relax. Welcome to 2 p.m. My name is Stephanie Graham and this is noseyAF. So today I'm revisiting a conversation that really still sticks with me, and it is my talk with Chicago artist Sheri Rush. And what I love about this conversation is that it's just about, it's not just about painting, which is one of Sheri's mediums, but it's about staying committed to your creative life over decades, learning how your process evolves and figuring out how to keep making work through all the different seasons of being an artist and a human. So we talk about residencies, large-scale painting, nature, archives, critique, and I just think it's really like what it means to build a life around art. So Sheri is one of those artists who really lives in her practice, and I think you can hear that throughout this whole conversation. So whether you're an artist yourself or you're just somebody trying to stay connected to creativity, I think that there will be a lot in here for you. So I really hope you enjoy this conversation. So let's talk to Sheri, shall we? Okay, so you guys, we have my friend Sheri Rush here. She's a fellow artist in Chicago. And how long have we known each other? Do you know? A few years.
Has to go back to when you did the center program at Hyde Park Arts Center, because I know that's the first place I saw your work.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, wow. So it's been a long time.
Yeah, I remember laughing hysterically when I saw.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Yeah. No, so for a while, but I feel like as of maybe the past 2 years or so, we've started to talk even more, become real buds.
Oh, definitely. And I remember we were both doing a critique at the CAC one time.
Oh,
Do you remember that?
yes. Oh my gosh.
I was sitting there really tensely, and all of a sudden you said something like, I don't know about you guys, but I could use a shot.
Oh my gosh, that's so ridiculous. I can't believe I said that. Oh my gosh. Those critiques get so, yeah, I don't know why critiques get so intense. It's like we're just sharing our opinion.
It's kind of, it's our soul though, right? I mean, it's that product that is the end of this long process. It's really important to us. I mean, our work is really important to us.
Yeah, that's true. You know what's interesting? I think I need to do some type of soul searching because I feel like when people say work is our soul, I feel like I can separate it somehow. If people critique it in a bad way, I just think I'm not going back and redoing all that work or something like that, more so than
That's probably very healthy, I mean, I think too many people get kind of, really taken back and really just kind of stopped, and I think they take it to heart maybe sometimes. I mean, that's one thing you learn is, starting in school and everything, that you take what you can use and then you leave the rest behind,
Yeah.
That can be hard to do.
Yeah.
Some hurts more than others,
That is very true. My friend Maya, we collaborated on the hashtag New Global Matriarchy project. And I remember she said to me, when we were about to go to review, she's like, okay, listen, anything that these people say have anything to do with how you will be moving forward? And I was like, no. And she's like, okay, then.
Wow.
And so then we just listened to the critique or whatever and took it in and had a conversation. But she's like, these folks, and these are just other artists in the program. She's like, what they have to say, who cares? But it's in a way, to think it is interesting if they had something I guess technical to say, but we had this piece that sort of critiqued the Art Institute and a person got offended, and it's All right, unless you have, like, something to say about, like, the way I photograph this, like, you're just making, like, a personal opinion.
Listen, I mean, that's what critiques turn into sometime. I can remember being devastated in grad school because I went to the University of Chicago, so you had the faculty members all there, and then the visiting artist was one from the SAIC, and they clashed, but I was the one thrown under the bus. But it was about them clashing, and I don't think I was old enough to know that until the director, like, wrote me a letter saying, "Sorry."
Wow, yeah, that's crazy because it's like, listen, I'm paying all this money and you all are, like, taking, taking jabs at each other, like, through my
Right.
art, and that's not right. Like, we're paying for a service, not for you, like, to get upset about something that happened at, like, a party last month or something. What is wrong with people?
A lot of philosophical differences back then. I mean, because you're talking the '80s, so I've
Okay.
been in this world a while, so it was a different game back then. Yeah.
Yeah, so you've been able to how long have you been an artist?
Since I was 9?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah, I asked my mom if I could take art lessons. So I've always since then, I've taken art lessons in some form,
Mhm.
and I pursued art even in college, even though I wasn't really doing my art in school, I was doing it I was lucky, my parents supported me and I took private lessons or in a class situation, with a private person. But I wasn't like a big art person in high school. I played the clarinet. I was actually more into the musician side of it, but I wasn't truly gifted as a musician and I knew that because I had friends that were very, very gifted. But I was in a high school that was very known for its band and competitions. So when I chose the school that I needed to go to in Texas for my BFA, I went there for art, but my parents wouldn't let me, so I decided to get a scholarship, and I knew the best way to do that was not through my art at that time because I didn't have a lot of accolades behind me, but I had it in music. So I actually started college on a music scholarship.
Wow, so you actually were good at music.
I wasn't the best,
Okay.
you have to be the top 10% to really pursue that, I think, I given my choice of talents, I might have chosen music, but, we don't choose, we receive, right? So
Yeah, it just seems like you might be a little hard on your I mean, if it's top 10% that gets a music scholarship and you got one, like
oh, no, 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 that makes it in the world. I mean,
ah,
I was all state band, I was, UIL, all the God, I can't believe I remember all this, but yeah, all the competitions and nonsense, I did all that. Yeah, yeah, I did alright, yeah,
yeah.
but I wasn't the top.
Okay, okay. You know what's funny? I played clarinet also, and I could not read music at all. I could not read music at all.
Really?
Yeah, I really had a hard time, like, with the hand coordination, like, I would be in recitals just, like, just pushing whatever. I really was. I just remember, like, really pushing whatever, like, I'm surprised I don't know if you could hear me, like, just off with everybody else, but, yeah, I was not good at it.
It got me to the school that I needed to be at to study art, and then I was able to get an art scholarship for my last year in college, so
Oh,
yeah.
very cool.
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool. So, yeah, you really have been doing it all your life.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I came up here for grad school and did a MFA, so I got a scholarship, yeah, so it's
Wow, good for you.
I feel like I've been beat a lot.
You know, it's really something. I went to the Beyoncé concert and she was like, as she was thanking everyone, she's like, I've been doing this for 25 years. And it's like, wow, has it been that long? And it's just like that's like a and just like I think similar to you, like that's like a really long like time to be committed to something, like committed to your craft, and just like keep going and just getting better and having these like different things happen along your career and whatnot. And so I feel like that with you because you've seen, so many different things take place over your career, you
Yes.
know.
It's a great deal.
Yeah. So I think that that's cool. So we've been talking, but let's tell the listeners about your work. So I'm going to describe it and then you tell me if I'm right because I'm trying to work better on talking about art.
Okay. A lot is well, some people find painting very difficult to talk about,
Oh,
people
really?
to other genres. Yeah, I mean, different mediums and everything, and, a more maybe, gosh, if I say a more message-oriented, I'm gonna get killed by all the painters. Not that it's not, but, there people find other stuff easier to talk about than painting. I've been
Yeah.
told that.
Sheri Rush is a large abstract painter, and I mean like big paintings, not just like your typical like 11 by 14, 16 by 20. Though, if you're lucky, you can find those sizes if you are lucky, but that is not her base. And these paintings are bright colors like neons, blues, reds, nothing really dark. And this is her current body of work because she has went to those palettes before, like where they were like darker, rich palettes, but now they are rich and bright. And they are forests, magical forests that you get to explore. They're sort of I don't know what the word would be for, like, the animation version of cinematic, not animation like cartoony, but just, like, they're animated. They are, like, bright, colorful forest experiences that's mixed with, like, spray paint, acrylic paint, and I think that's it.
That's good. That
Okay.
I think you really, really, really got it. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, cool.
I should write that down.
I really feel like you could walk through your paintings. They're so bright, and I also think of them as, like are you familiar with TPing?
Yes.
So, like, in high school, we would always, like, TP each other's houses, me and my friends, and some of them, like, with, like, the drips, they, like, look like if we had, like, hot pink toilet
Oh,
paper or,
yeah.
like, blue
Yes.
toilet paper. Like, if we would've, like, dyed the paper and, like, went and done somebody's, like, backyard who, like they're, like, in Barrington or something, like, where they have, like, more like a foresty backyard, I feel
Right.
like that would've been really fun.
Oh,
So not
wow. That
TP in, like, a juvenile way, but, like, in a visual way, you know?
right. No, I saw it in my head. When you said that, I was like, "Oh, yeah, that might work."
Yeah, I know, right? We should try it. Like, I wonder how it would go with toilet paper, crepe paper. It could be fun, but they do definitely feel, like, immersive for sure, your work.
Oh, that's good. I mean, that's really what this show is gonna be about. This next show is
Mhm.
all about that. So,
Yeah.
I have gone heavy on the size this year, just because I knew I had this show. I haven't had a large scale show in a long time, and what a long time, 2020, 2020, I think it was. And I don't know, they've chosen to show the small pandemic works recently and the last 2 years. So I've been really excited by this one because this is my love. I was always a large scale painter. I was very influenced by the abstract expressionists, and this is what I I I I love doing. I think I also do it better than I paint small paintings. So, I've been working on trying to fix that, but yeah, this comes better for me. Large scale works better for me.
Do you have large scale works hanging in your home?
I have yes, actually.
Okay.
Yes, I do have I only allow, one of mine in the house, and it
Okay.
happens to be a 10-foot painting that's a favorite of my partner, but I have collected a few throughout my life, so I have a 7 by 7 foot painting,
Oh,
Wesley
wow.
Yeah. And a Thrush Holmes, he's a Canadian artist. It's probably about 5 by 6, 4 by 6, maybe. Yeah, 5 by 6. But
Wow.
yeah, so I'm drawn to it, definitely. Even other people's, yeah.
Yeah, I always will see like your work and other big works, and I always think like, where could I hang this at my house? But
Oh yeah,
it wasn't until though actually, and we could talk about this later, but like in Pooch Cove at James's house, when I was like, oh, look at these big pieces, and like like his living space I feel like it's
yes,
comparable to mine. So I'm like, oh, I guess you just put it on the wall, and if there's like a chair in front of it, as long as it's not like
yes,
mashed up against it, you can
right,
move it so people can see, or like you move out, like you just sort of arrange around it. And then it made me think like, oh yeah, maybe this wall actually could, take a big piece
yeah.
like that. Yeah.
No, yeah, you live in close proximity to it. I think it's a different point of view. I noticed that, and in fact, I noticed that since I have done the Pooch Cove residency twice now, I paint a little bit differently there than I do in my studio, because my studio, I can't get as far back. And I've noticed that there's a real difference because I spend a lot of time when I'm in Pooch Cove looking, since we live in the spaces, and they're big. I spend a lot of time looking at them from far away. And I think I paint not I'm sure it's not very differently to everyone, but inside my head it's very different.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I like big work. I think it makes sense. My own work, I prefer to like the prints that I have, they're like 16 by 20, and I think it makes it's better, and I'm like, that's not even that big, and that's why, I said in the beginning describing your work, like, I'm like, no, it's not like 16 by 20. People are like, oh my God, that's so big. It's like, no, no, no. That is like a 4 by 6 compared to your size works. But I think yeah, big art, if it calls for it, I think it really helps, and it's like, it's just, I feel like when you have the smaller work, it's like, "Oh, this is for everybody else," like, those starting out in your collection or something.
Right. Well, I find that a lot of people aren't comfortable living that close to having that big of an image. It
Mhm.
doesn't seem to rest in the background as easily. There seems to be more kind of noise. And I remember one of my first experiences, a potential sell of one of those large pieces. In graduate school, we had our master thesis show, but then we had a group thesis show together at the Smart Museum. And this woman, I think she had a condo. I think she was down in Hyde Park, a really nice ritzy condo. And she called me. She wanted one of I wasn't quite as bright as I am now. Not, I mean, fluorescents weren't a thing. And but there were some reds and some strong colors in it. And it was big. I used to paint 10 feet paintings back, so she wanted to try it, and I took it down and, I put it up on the wall, and it was in her dining room, and she had this new white marble table, and she felt like the painting dwarfed the white marble table. So, and she decided not to buy it.
Oh, man.
That that over the sofa view, I think people are very used to. And if you like large work, I think you commit a little bit more to living closer with it. It's
Yeah. 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 Because I guess you would like, as you eat, you, like, turn and, it, like, becomes your whole world. But I love that, though,
I know, right? Me
Yeah.
too. I was like, "Huh, okay."
Yeah, I think it would definitely have brought, like, a different dining experience, especially if you like to entertain a lot. Because everybody always just, like, eats at, a table with, like, just a
Exactly.
wall, So it's like, "Come on." Yeah.
It was a learning experience. I'm like, "Okay, lesson learned."
Yeah. So, we recently went to the Pooch Cove residency, and one of the things I wondered if you could talk about is actually how you would say your paintings are, this is me trying to talk again about art, like, you journal, and then do you consider your paintings like poems? Or are they like a responses to writings you do? Like, can you share like a little bit about your process?
Yeah. I did this when I was young. I'm from Texas, and my family had a farm in Central Texas. It was my grandparents, actually. And we were down there a lot. And I would just go out walking the acreage. And it actually started in grad school. It's not a journal as much as it's a photography journal, I guess you would
Okay.
say. I document. It's like, almost OCD. It's a really heightened documentation. Not think of it in terms of documenting. I'm always looking for something. And I would always photograph down at the farm twice a year. And because when I was living in Chicago, I'd be down there twice a year. And it was interesting to me, look, like after years had gone by, looking back and seeing, God, what was my focus that year? Because I could always tell the focus, whether it was shadows or light or forms, the interaction of forms. It was always dramatic, though. I have to say that. I always feel like I've set up little dramas all the time. So, and I worked from photos from the farm, and it never struck me until later that it was really about my processing the world and processing my life, and about identity and my family identity and identity to that land. I worked from those from like 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I had left the art world, I don't know, sometime in the 90s. I kept painting, but my painting became quite stagnant. And that's why I ended up in the center program to
Okay.
transition my work. One of the visiting artists, the first critique I had, he said, "Get rid of your photos." So I shredded them. Then I made works with shredded photographs and charcoal and acrylic and spray. That's when I first started using spray. So they were all black and whites, because my photo journals from that time were shot in film, and they were all black and white because I would do the printing part myself in a wet dark room. So
Wow.
I know that was well into the 2000s. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that you would photograph these things, print them, and then print them in the dark room and then paint from them?
Yes.
That's too much.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And I was lucky because where I lived, it had this extra room with a sink in it, like a slop sink or something. And it was my cats had it as their little room. But then I would suddenly do like 2 weeks of power printing. I would set
Yeah.
the dark room up. I had these special curtains and everything, and. So, but then, yeah, computers kind of did away with that, because it became too easy. Because, as you said, it was a lot. I
Yeah.
was spending a lot of time, a lot of labor intensive, time preparing my source materials. But, I have to say, looking back, that whole process, those source materials is part of my process. I
Yeah.
think I'm just kind of accepting that now. Before I'd say, "Oh, well, I do paint from photographs," but it was just, this year when I was writing a statement that, I was with a group of artists, and they asked me to describe my process, and they pointed out to me that this whole documentation and then archiving these things, this constant, going through them and finding what's this and what's that, and that's a really huge part of my process. So I'm just now kind of grappling with that.
Hey, I just want to pop in here real quick to let you know that I'm an artist. I make work about social class, subcultures, race, and gender. These topics are complex, they're interesting, and they come up in my life all the time. Because I love to laugh, a lot of my work has humorous tones. I genuinely enjoy making and creating all sorts of things. My main medium is photography and film, but I also enjoy organizing art events. I would love to keep you in the loop of everything that's going on with my art exhibition, so please consider signing up for the Studio Gram newsletter at missgram.com/sign up. Okay, back to the talk. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of steps, but I'm also sort of like, what? I can't believe that guy said to shred them. Get rid of
He didn't
them.
get rid of 'em, he said get rid of 'em
Yeah.
because I was stuck and I needed to move on. So I moved on by working through imagery that I needed to work through and shredding those photos. Now I kept my negatives, but
Okay. Oh, okay, okay, okay. That's yeah, some because I was like, all that work. Oh my gosh.
right? No, I know, one of my best buddies, I've known him since grad school. He would like, when I said it, he looked at me and then he's just like, "Oh, you have the negatives." I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh. That's what I was thinking. Like, oh my gosh, because I didn't know if yeah, yeah, if it's like
And
Polaroids or
now they've been
something.
scanned. Yeah, they've been scanned now, which was yeah, so
Oh wow, you're so meticulous.
well, I started printing, it was back then, it was like 2012 or 2013. I learned that you could print with computers.
Yes, yes. No, that's good. I have it's good that you have everything scanned. I'm, like, looking I have some, like, boxes of negatives, so I'm like, "Oh, I should maybe scan some of that stuff and see
You should
what's in
scan 'em.
there." Yeah, and I probably do, like, I also have, like, DVDs that I probably should look and see, like, this computer I'm recording our conversation on has a DVD player. I should see if it works and then just take a look and see what's in there and see what comes of it.
It's an extraordinary process. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I had to in 2019, I moved from the place that was my home and my studio for 27 years.
Oh, wow.
And I moved, but then it took me, I don't know, a good year to start getting all my art out of there. And my art that was, it went all the way back to graduate school.
Mm.
And that's when I learned because I couldn't remember that I used to paint 10-foot paintings back then. So I've always been that painter. Yeah, that was a real process, cleaning out all that stuff. I let 3/4 of it go, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, archiving, right? That's like a whole other
That
piece.
took months. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, you should definitely always look back. It's always informative.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. So you and I, we went how did you so you and I, we really got to know each other and spend time together at Pooch Cove when you invited me. Thank you again as a to come with you to Canada. And, it came at a really good time because I wanted to, as I was telling you, like, do more residencies. And then here comes this residency, and it's like, oh, yeah, about an artist career, have residencies.
Definitely.
Yeah. How did you get to do residencies with Pooch Cove? And, yeah, Pooch Cove. And then, like, if you talk about like residencies, like in your work, if it's even like a thing in your process.
It wasn't because back, when I was starting out, it wasn't a thing. Residency isn't a thing. I mean, Ragsdale has always been there. Yaddo has always been there, but it's not like, now artists can go from residency to residency and they do that a lot, but it wasn't really a thing. But it's when I came back into the art world in 2014 that people were all talking about residencies. So once I started getting myself together and get my work together, God, what year was it? It must have been. I think I started applying. I applied for a few. I finally decided to do it, and I applied for a few here in the States. And during that time I was applying, I received an email, and it was from the Puchko Foundation offering me a residence in Cove, and it was James Baird. He's the CEO, founder. He said, "Would you be interested in something like that?" And I said, "Oh yeah, sure, sure. Let me send me the app. Let me take a look." And he's like, "No, there's no application. It's just invitation." And I said, "Oh yeah, yeah." But in my mind, I had just applied to, I don't know, I think 2 residencies or something,
Mm-hmm.
and I really wanted this one I really wanted, and I had no idea, though, since it was my first time that these things are competitive here in the States.
Hey guys, sorry to quickly interrupt. Well, actually, I'm not sorry. It's something I have to do. We have to take a quick break and we will be right back after this. Real talk. How many opportunities have you bookmarked and never applied to? I know I have, and you know what? It happens. The admin part of the work we're doing is understandably boring and tedious. But when you neglect it, it can cost you real opportunities. That's why I created Artist Admin Hour, because behind every exhibition is a clear budget submitted that makes sense. Admin is the flex. It's the work that makes the work work. But you don't have to do it alone. Every Wednesday, 7 to 9 p.m. Central, artists show up on Zoom to tackle what we've been avoiding. Residency applications, grant apps, budgets, invoices, whatever's on your list. 2 hours of body doubling with structure, no shame, and real community. $25 to $45 a month gets you in. But if that's not doable, email me, because getting this done is very important. We will make it work. Stop letting admin sabotage your practice. Join us today at artistadminhour.com. WLPN LP Chicago 105.5 FM Lumpin Radio. Okay, my bad for interrupting the conversation so abruptly like that, but let's get back to our talk with Sheri Rush.
Like, just hugely competitive.
Yeah.
There's not that many spots for all those artists, and, of course, so time went I kinda blew them off, and time went on, and I got turned down for the residencies, and then, mm, I was lamenting to Deirdre, in the studio, and Deirdre Fox is my studio mate, and, complaining, and I think I was thinking about jumping on a train or something and going out west and doing some photography. I don't know. I was, of all kinds of schemes. And then all of a sudden James wrote me again because
Oh, wow.
I hadn't really thought about it. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, let's do this, and I looked it up and, you're kind of hesitant. I mean, because you're just opening your email. But anyway, long story short, I went and it was amazing. And I finally one day asked him, how did he find my work? And there's a platform called Found Artwork.
Okay.
I remember seeing it on Instagram when it started. It originally started for artists, and this was odd. This is kind of a throwback to the old days. It started for artists with MFAs.
Oh, interesting.
Nothing's ever come of it for me, except James found me there.
Mm-hmm.
Then now it's segued into, all artists, and it gives out a big grant once a year to
Oh,
an artist on the platform. But yeah, he found me on that. He used to really, but what's funny is the facility wasn't done. He was
okay.
just finishing the units that are in the main building, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He was just finishing them up. And like when Elaine was there, she was there alone, I think. I
Yeah,
think she
she
was the only
was. Yeah, she was.
I was there. It was me and another artist from the US, and then one from Ireland and his daughter from Spain. So there were 4 of us.
Wow.
But yeah, all the units weren't done yet, and the lofts weren't even. That was a dream. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was very, very different, but it was very isolating. That was right before the pandemic, so I didn't know, how to live without my coffee shop.
Yeah, that is hard. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever heard me complain, but the coffee shops around here keep hours that are like seriously rude. They're like 10 to 3. It's like, are you kidding?
Just
Yes. There's maybe one that is like super early because it's by a metro, but
Yes.
it's like this like
Yeah.
7 to 12. Like, and l- so if I'm out of coffee, I have to resort to either Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks, which I'm like
Yes.
not that happy about. I rather, if I'm going to spend the money, go to a coffee shop but then it's like, it's not close enough, it's like, yeah, I guess if I wanna drive, but, like, that's not the
Yeah.
point, like, the point is to have something local and accessible, and yeah, I know we were in Pooch Cove, I kept trying to figure out how to have a coffee shop there, but
Well, I think as more artists move there, I think that your plan might work.
yeah, I'll have to see. It's pretty up there. Do you like working isolated like that?
Yes.
Mhm.
I do. I get a lot done. My best painting was done there. Yeah, for sure. It's a real gift to be able to paint every day. But I have to say, this time was so much better. My mind was much healthier. I was in a much healthier place because of all of you guys were there. So I was in a happier place, and I didn't get like crazy. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, it is nice to it was nice to know that while I was working, I knew that y'all were working too, and there's not, like, friends that might be, like, frustrated because they're going to see, like, a movie that you don't really wanna see, but you might push yourself to go to be social or, it's like, "Okay, yeah, I do need to see my friend, I haven't seen him in a while," but it's just like, "You know what? Yeah, Sherry's over there, but she's also working, and yeah, maybe I could stop by, but have I done what I'm doing?" Like, we are here to work, and then we had different times that we created
Yeah.
organically for, like, socializing, and I thought that that was really nice. It made me wanna be able to offer that to other artists somehow, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh my gosh, what a treat this is," you know?
I know, right? Yeah, it
Yeah,
is. It
yeah.
does make you think of that way differently. It's just such a thing to be able to get up every day and paint is just and all you have to decide is if you're going to the grocery store or not, or
Yeah. Yeah, and then I realized I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I way overpacked," because I was just like, "Oh, just throw these jeans," like, I rotate out, like, 2 jeans in the washing machine and, like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's like yeah, it was a really good opportunity. Um
I'm glad you really enjoyed it. I'm glad you yeah, it was
Yeah, it
great.
was it was a lot it was a lot of fun, and now you have you but you're always working though, which is really cool. Do you, like 2 questions, I wanna obviously talk about your show you have coming up, but, like, do you have any hobbies or chill time? Because I feel like you always have stuff going on.
Yeah, I do. N no, I've worked
Tell the truth now, tell the truth.
the closest thing I get to a hobby are my dogs, I guess.
Yeah,
But honestly, I've always had to work a day job. I've never been able to support myself on my work, and there were times that my day job was all encompassing, and it was a fight to get into the studio. So I felt like I that's what I did all my life, and if I had any spare time, it was in the studio. So now my job is a little less demanding, and I cut out a huge chunk of it because I used to do a lot of rehab work, and I don't do that anymore. Yeah, relaxation, that's hard for me.
yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to, like, make hobbies more,
I
like
think it's smart
you think it's
to
smart?
have a hobby. 'Cause and
Yeah.
I've been since I have young dogs again, I spend a lot of time with my dogs, but
Mhm.
I started training them. And that's the only other well, also I started taking ceramics because I wanted to make it this object,
Uh-huh.
and so I got it I just kinda jumped into ceramics. I don't know why I think of that as a hobby, but, I mean, I think that it could be an important part of my practice someday, but yeah, I guess, yeah, I'm making art usually, trying to, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's hard because even, like, with my girls, when I was doing it when I first started to learn, I was like, "Oh, I can totally make this a business," but I was like, "You know what? Why even rush?" Like, people were having events like, "Hey, are your grills ready yet? Are you good enough yet to, like, come and sell these and take clients?" And I'm just like it was giving me anxiety, so I'm like, "You know what?
Yes.
No, I'm just gonna" how some people might knit, I'll just play with my girl stuff, and just, like, go from there and play with that, and if, like, over time, if it starts to become something where, like, I wanna make it a business, then so be it, but outside of that, I'm not, like, putting a rush on it or anything, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of pressure.
Mhm.
I've always felt grateful to have, a roof over my head and a job because it never pressured me to paint any particular way or size.
Yeah.
If I want to paint large, I could paint large because let's face it, they don't sell.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But you do have a show coming up.
I do have a show
So
coming.
so something must be. Listen, we have a show coming up where we will get to see your work and maybe hopefully some of these beautiful pieces will move. So tell us about it.
You never know. Well, the Chase Gallery, there's an art center, Epiphany Center for the Arts, and it's a fairly new art space in Chicago. But it opened in 2020, which was, a pandemic. So it's an incredible space. It has like 6 to 8 galleries and it has all this music. There's constant it's a musical venue and a fine arts, visual art venue. And I think it's incredible. I think it's incredible to bring your work will have an audience that's not always you don't get that crossover audience all the time, because people come to see the music, people come to have a drink. I mean, it's a very unique space in that it's a renovated church.
Ooh.
It's on South Ashland, and it has an interesting history because the Black Panthers used to meet at that church. It's just if someone was going to save a church and make it into a really cool venue, this is it. And I like the whole, like, different things going on there. But this gallery is their largest gallery. It's about 2,500 square feet. And from the moment I saw it, I envisioned a large scale show there. And Aaron Baker was the director at that time. And, I was thinking my work was dealing with landscape imagery, but from a lot of different views. Then the pandemic kind of changed everything because I used to kind of dwell on how people do not the layers of everything between them and nature because they're sitting there looking through their camera, often through a window. And so it was about kind of that kind of thing and the layers that we put, we're looking through computers, we're looking through everything. And then the pandemic happened and we could only experience things looking through windows and the computer. So it was hitting kind of too close.
Yeah.
I switched to a different view in different ways. Anyway, I decided that this show should be a large scale show and that I had all this source material from my first residency in Pooch Cove.
Okay.
So it was from a hiking point of view. I had 2,500 photos and I was looking at it, getting really excited, and thinking, oh my God, look at that, look at that. So I thought, God, what if I really went for it? Because I try to crush my landscape representational needs a lot, just because I think, well, we've already done that. But I thought, well, just let it go. So I decided it would be fun to create a large scale immersive show around an enchanted forest kind of theme. And I had met this Canadian artist because he did the residency at Pooch Cove,
Okay.
and that's where he first saw my work. And he used my drop clause that I used. And he reached out to me and we've been keeping in touch. And he's an abstract painter with a very fluorescent palette who also has a great love of the abstract expressionists. And he's younger than me, so he has a lot of other like anime and
Oh, wow.
Madonna leopard patterns, all that kind of stuff feeds into his work. But we have a lot of the same mark making and abstracting language. And he kind of brings the enchantment up 10 notches.
That's really cool. This sounds awesome.
His name is Jared Betts. Here's two of our works together,
Ooh, pretty.
right?
Wow,
It'll,
yeah.
it'll be good.
Yeah, that is gonna be good. When does it open?
September 15th
Okay.
at 6 to 9. So, yeah, and it'll be open until November 4th. So there's a lot of time to go see, and you can go see some music and have some drinks.
Yeah.
It's a cool venue.
Yeah, I've been there before to see like they have like a candlelight series with like a cover band. I think they were doing Sam Cooke.
No kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, me and my father went one time. So yeah, that was cool.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Yeah, they always have stuff going on. So yeah, I'm excited about this because you're right. It's always bustling over there.
It
So
it is, and I think I think it's gonna be a very popular venue, for everything eventually. So, yeah.
that's great. We need more spaces.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Cool.
Mhm.
Well, hey, wait, what's the name of the show? Did you say?
Situations of liminality and transformation, and someone asked me, they were like, "All right, what's with the title?"
Your titles are always off the chain. Your titles are always off the chain.
Well, I'm really interested in traditional symbolism, different types of symbolism, and there was a time in my painting career that I was very into alchemy and the colors of ascension, and then the colors of descension. And I would only use those colors. But anyway, so I was looking at the symbolism, traditional symbolism of the enchanted forest, and it struck me because one, I mean, basically the definition was containing situations of liminality and transformation. Because the enchanted forest, or even the forest, is a threshold symbol, and it's symbolic, passing from one state to another. I mean, there's a ton of symbolism surrounding forests and enchanted forests, and it can be good or bad actually. But I just love that because I've always really enjoyed the word liminality.
Mm.
I'm a big believer in transformation. So
Yeah, I mean, you've gone through different transformations of your career amongst the through the time, so I get that.
definitely, yeah, big believer in that. So I so it's literally a definition in like a traditional symbolism
Okay.
of a big definition. But yeah, I was kind of stunned. Someone asked me about the title. I was like, oh, never noticed.
Yeah, no, they always sound so, like, pretty and long with big big juicy words, which I love.
I think I've named a couple of paintings something liminality. So,
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
yeah.
Strikes my fancy.
Yeah, no, I get it, I get it. When you get something you're into, like, you go with it, you know?
Yeah.
Well, Sherry, I'm so glad that we talked. Is there anything else that you wanna bring up before we call our conversation complete?
I no, I just thank you. Thank you for having me and thank you for talking. It was a lot of fun actually. I'm kind of shy, so it it was good. You're very easy to talk to.
Oh,
No
that's
one
so nice. I am so thankful I was able to share this conversation with you today. Conversations like this one I had with Sherry remind me of why I love being here at Lumpen. I love radio. A shout out to Bonnie DeShong. I love storytelling. I love storytelling in the first place. Like just being able to have a chance to slow down, listen to somebody else share their story and connect through art, connect through memory, and connect through lived experience. So, thank you, Sherry. And, for more information about Sherry's work, please visit SheriRush.com. And if you're here in Chicago, Sherry currently has work on view at McCormick Gallery over in Westtown. And I believe the exhibition may have been extended because it's still hanging. So, if you're looking for something inspiring to do this Memorial Holiday weekend, that is an option to you if you want. If you want. You can learn more about that at her gallery at thomasmccormick.com. Um I'm so ready for this weekend. As I've been sitting with this conversation, preparing it for you, I keep thinking about the importance of leaving something behind. And not necessarily like in a grand way, but through small things too, through creativity, through care, through being a good neighbor, um, through just ways that we could show up for one another over time. And so I think artists like Sherry remind us that our lives matter, our stories matter, and things we create can become a kind of record of who we were, what we cared about during our time here. And let's see, like that idea, it sits with me. And even more lately, because I've also been in this season of like documenting in my own work and my own process. And I've been out here photographing these prom send offs, all the dressing rooms, living rooms, front yards, hotel lobbies, all these in between spaces where so much care, stress, joy, flash, intention. It's all happening at the same time. And I got to tell you, I love it. I love pizzazz, razzle dazzle. And what I've really been drawn to, like, is everything around prom. Not just like the event itself, but like the ecosystem that makes it possible, the dressmakers, the tailors, the makeup artists. Shout out to the parents coordinating all this stuff, families pooling resources, event planners turning full homes into full time celebrations. It's like all a part of this larger ritual of coming of age. And it's interesting because this time of year brings also graduation season. So, super duper duper congratulations to all of the graduates, grade school graduates, high school graduates, college, trade school, master's degrees, PhDs. Oh my gosh. Do you have a PhD? Not me. I do not. But, all these rites of passage that are just moments where community gathers to say, we see you, we're proud of you, we're sending you forward with love. I would love to know if you all went to prom and like what it was like. If you find me on Instagram, I would love to hear those stories because just like working on this project has been making me think a lot about just how we document transition. And obviously, there are all the photographers out there, all the filmmakers out there documenting all of these kids on their send offs to prom. But I just like to remember like who we were right before everything changed. And this is a change, right? Prom is a change. And then how much invisible work goes into creating these moments that people only see for just a few hours and then the kid is gone. So I don't know. I think that's what I've been learning the most. And that's like behind every big moment, there are dozens of people holding it up. And I just love that. And being able to be out there witnessing it and being up close to it, I just love that. So with this being Memorial Day weekend, I just also want to take a moment to acknowledge what this holiday represents. We have our cookouts, we got the sales, long weekends. I came into the conversation super excited about about a long weekend, but Memorial Day is ultimately about remembrance and then honoring the people whose lives that were lost during military service. And especially with this world being so crazy right now, I'm just reflecting on sacrifice, thinking about the generations of people who came before us and helped us shape the world we lived in today. And I'm also thinking about the world that we lived in before you know who. Oh my goodness. I've just been like, personally thinking about how we quickly the world changes, politically, socially, emotionally, and just how important it is to hold our humanity through all of it, to stay connected to each other, to stay connected to ourselves, to remember that care, reflection, and community, that it all still matters. And I think that's part of why art and community, being a good neighbor, matters too. It gives us all space to pause, to reflect, feel something, and helps us to like process a moment that we're living through. Sometimes it helps us imagine something better, which is like super important. Let me talk about myself right now, you know? So this weekend, I really hope that you get a chance to slow down a little bit, spend some time with people you love, get some rest if you can. Shout out to all my cashiers that are ringing folks up as they're getting ready for all this stuff. Man, I used to work at Toys R Us. Do y'all remember Toys R Us? And it would just be so crazy. We would have these holiday sales, and I would just be in the aisle leaning, resting, leaning on bikes. um, yeah. So, I just appreciate how precious life really is, and just taking a moment to think about that kind of legacy that I want to leave behind. Maybe it's something that you think about as well. And whether that's like through art, family, friendship, community, or just being a good person to the people around you. So thank you so much for listening and spending time with me today. I appreciate you all deeply. I appreciate Stephanie and Charlie and the rest of the shows here at Lumpin'. I feel so honored to be a part of the show here, of the family here. 10 years. Lumpin' has celebrated 10 years. Isn't that wild? Sheri's been an artist 25 years. Beyonce, over 25 years. Everybody, all these long commitments. It's impressive. So, anywho, I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, a wonderful, wonderful day. It is almost 3, and yeah, have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. Peace. All up in your business. 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 All up in your all up in your all up in your business. Ooh, she so nosy. Ooh, she so nosy. Ooh, she so nosy. Ooh, she so nosy. All up in your business. 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 Nosy.